Chinese convenience stores in Beijing, Shenzhen, Suzhou, Fuzhou, and other cities are experiencing a wave of closures. These stores managed to survive the pandemic for 3 years but are now shutting down within less than half a year after the pandemic. Experts analyze that these large commercial establishments have been facing continuous losses and, after enduring the pandemic with no signs of improvement, they have no choice but to close down. The AEON Mall Beijing International Shopping Center, which has been in operation for nearly 15 years, will close on June 24. The AEON supermarket in the area has already ceased operations on May 31, and several restaurants and brand stores have also withdrawn and left the premises. Located in Beijing's Chongping district, the AEON Mall was opened in November 2008 and was regarded as the starting point for the development of Japanese large-scale retail businesses in China. However, over the past year, AEON has been gradually retreating from various locations nationwide. Another AEON supermarket located in Beijing's Chaoyangui city closed down last year. Beijing netizens expressed their concerns, saying, "Large supermarkets are closing down one after another, and the real economy is truly declining." Some users also express a sense of sadness, stating, "Before the pandemic, it was overcrowded, during the pandemic, there was no one, and now after the pandemic, they are closing down one by one." On June 12, the Wushang wholesale store in the Wuchang district of Wuhan officially closed down its Yujiazu location. June 11 was the store's last day of operation, and all the shelves were already emptied through clearance sales. The Hurunwanjia Jiangxing Road store in Suzhou has also announced its closure. The store's operation will officially end on June 15, terminating both online and offline businesses. This comprehensive supermarket, located in Suzhou's Pingjian New Town, had a bustling opening in January 2014, but now its former glory is gone. The Hurunwanjia Pinghu store in Jiaxing, Zhejiang, has also issued a closure notice, concluding its online and offline operations on June 10. David Huang, an American economist, stated that his friends in Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Wuhan informed him about the bleak state of the retail industry and physical stores after conducting on-site investigations. He said, "When the pandemic was initially relaxed, including the retail and service industries, some restaurants and hotels were doing fine. However, starting from around the Chinese New Year, the restaurant industry struggled to survive, and the situation for hotels and retail businesses was quite bleak. Many large commercial establishments such as department stores, supermarkets, and hypermarkets were not performing as well as before, similar to during the pandemic." Reporters attempted to contact AEON Mall Beijing International Shopping Center, Hurunwanjia Jiangxing Road store, and Wushang wholesale store Yujiazu but did not receive any response. According to data released by the National Bureau of Statistics of the People's Republic of China, the total retail sales of consumer goods in May amounted to 3.7803 trillion yuan, RMB. This represents a year-on-year increase of approximately 12.7%, but the growth rate decreased by 5.7 percentage points compared to April. In April, the total retail sales of consumer goods reached 3.491 trillion yuan, showing a month-on-month decrease of 7.78% compared to March, with a widening decline, and a decline in sales across all retail categories. Wang Gachen, a researcher at the China Economic Research Institute, stated on June 19 that this marks the second consecutive month of slowed consumption. Short-term factors include the impact of the pandemic, resulting in decreased income and rising unemployment rates. Long-term factors include the increasing popularity of online platforms such as Alibaba, which are gradually replacing offline physical consumption. Caixin reported that although there has been an increase in foot traffic in physical supermarkets and shopping malls in China, actual sales have fallen far short of expectations. Among 14 listed companies primarily engaged in supermarkets, including Gaoxin Retail, Lianhua Supermarket, and Yonghui Supermarket, 9 reported losses in 2022, and 4 continued to incur losses in the first quarter of 2023. Additionally, half of the supermarkets experienced a decline in revenue compared to the same period last year. Wang Gachen stated that overall, offline physical stores are experiencing sales contraction, and foreign capital is also withdrawing. The impact is even more noticeable in certain areas where Taiwanese businesses and foreign investments are concentrated, such as Suzhou and Shenzhen, which are near industrial parks. David Huang mentioned that both exports and domestic demand are not optimistic. Although the rents in large commercial districts have already decreased, the business volume is too small to sustain fixed expenses, so they have no choice but to close down. Huang further explained that these large-scale convenience stores have been operating in a bleak state for 3 years and have already accumulated substantial debts. They initially hoped for a rebound after the pandemic, but the recovery fell short of expectations. Some businesses have reached a breaking point in terms of their financial chain, and they lack confidence in seeing a market transformation in the near future. As their lease agreements expire, they are choosing to end their operations. They have struggled for over 3 years and persevered until there was no hope. They had hoped for improvements after the easing of the zero-COVID policy, but after several months, there hasn't been any improvement. They reluctantly decided to give up, taking advantage of the expiration of their lease agreements. This means that their perseverance over the past 3 years was in vain, explained David Huang. He analyzed that the closure of large commercial entities will directly impact commercial real estate. If they close down, many commercial properties will be unable to be leased, and it is often difficult to attract new businesses after the closure of such commercial entities. The losses in terms of rent and various expenses are enormous. Among the wave of store closures in mainland China, Carrefour is also included. Carrefour China has been gradually closing stores in the past 1 or 2 years. On June 10, the first Carrefour store in Shenzhen and the second in China ceased operations. This old store located in the Nantao area of Nanshan had been open for 27 years. On June 9, Carrefour announced the closure of its Malian Road store in Beijing, and the Carrefour Fengyuan store on South Thongguankun Street also posted a closure notice. The Carrefour member store on Chengshan Road in Shanghai also suddenly ceased operations in May. In 2022, Carrefour closed a total of 58 stores in China, and in the first quarter of 2023, the number of closures reached 33. As of the end of March, Carrefour China still had 114 stores. However, according to information from various sources, this number is still decreasing. Since 2010, Carrefour has been gradually withdrawing from the Asian market. This includes the transfer of operational ownership of Carrefour in Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia. In 2019, Suning.com invested 4.8 billion yuan to acquire an 80% stake in Carrefour China, reducing Carrefour's stake to 20%. Carrefour Taiwan was also acquired by the Uni-President Group in 2022. Wang Gachen stated that Carrefour's continuous withdrawal from the Asian market also applies to China. Although the Chinese mainland market is vast and seemingly capable of absorbing domestic consumption, in reality, its domestic demand market may not be as good as outsiders imagine, especially when it comes to consumer goods that can easily be replaced by local manufacturers. Wang Gachen believes that the successive closure of hypermarkets reflects the long-term slowdown of the Chinese economy. The current sluggish consumption has to some extent shattered the overly optimistic expectations of foreign businesses for China's economy this year. He further added, with weak consumption, the government can only rely on investment. Wang Gachen predicts that besides lowering policy interest rates, the government is likely to issue special government bonds to boost investment. In the second half of the year, the economy may return to a growth model driven by investment.